Greetings, this is Pink Frog Yellow Boots from Behavior, working towards achieving holistic health for everybody. We have been covering setting boundaries in different areas of our life in the past few videos. While we covered a brief about each area in our videos, today we'll be seeing what it is that is important to keep in mind before we set boundaries so that we don't end up making mistakes while we set boundaries. Yes, it is way too common that people make mistakes in setting boundaries and repeat old patterns. Few things that come handy are boundaries are not a way to adhere to your conditioning that is leading you nowhere, nor are boundaries a way to feed your fears. Setting boundaries just because you're conditioned in a certain way or just because things are getting scary is not the right approach on setting boundary. Boundary is also not a way to make people leave you. This could be something that resonates with your attachment style. Setting boundaries to save ourselves from change is also not the right approach on setting boundaries. Setting boundaries on anything that is asking us to get out of our comfort zone is also a way to self sabotage, which means it is also not the right way to set boundary. These are the few things that come again and again when setting boundaries with people during sessions. Setting boundary is not about saving yourself from everything. Setting boundaries is about putting yourself out for new learnings and making boundaries based on your self awareness, your needs, your wants, and how your body is responding. Thus, things that you shouldn't be doing while setting boundaries. Oh, the previously things that we discussed are areas which you need to be mindful with when setting boundaries on, be it your conditioning, your fears, your comfort zone, your changes. Now we'll be discussing what not to do when setting boundaries. First thing is do not over explain yourself. We have a guilt conscious when setting boundary and we constantly explain why these boundaries are important to us. Don't be overtaken by that guilt and keep explaining yourself. A lot of people even end up apologizing for setting boundary, which is another way of not setting boundaries because it sends out a signal that you yourself are not confident in setting your boundaries and you don't see that boundary as important. While I have mentioned that boundaries are negotiable from time to time, however, they are not questions you pose to the other person you are setting boundary with, which means you have set a boundary with your self awareness and requirement. It is not a question whether another person will follow it or not. If they don't follow, there has to be consequences. So, not setting consequences is also a pillar less supporting your boundary. The change that you bring in your boundaries are based on the changes that you want in your life. A lot of time it is difficult from going from 0 to 10 in one go. So you also make changes in your boundary, gradually uplifting them or changing them completely or dissolving them to form new boundaries. The unwillingness to make choices or prioritizing things will have you having boundaries on everything. Being mindful of making your choices, prioritizing things that really matter in your life is important when setting boundaries. So, not having a clear idea, not prioritizing, not making choices is not going to help you with boundary setting. If you feel lost when setting boundaries, it is important you reach out to people who can help you. If you don't have people supporting or setting examples of strong boundaries, like if you didn't have anybody around you setting boundaries, it may be difficult for you to set boundary. Having that consideration in mind, reaching out for professional help is a wise idea. Ignoring the fact that setting boundaries will and is bound to bring change in your own life is a major mistake. Not being assertive enough with your boundary is like undermining your own boundary. If you lack self awareness and clarity in your own decision and choices. You will have clarity in no other thing. So, not being clear with your self awareness will bring no clarity or boundary and thus not be helpful when setting boundary. Being clear, precise, and consistent is important. So, keeping that in mind while setting boundaries is going to be helpful. While lacking clarity and consistency is going to undermine the impact your boundaries would have. Prioritizing your needs and yourself is not a sin. Do not feel guilty. You don't owe anyone anything at your own expense. And same applies to other people. Be compassionate and grateful towards yourself as well as others. If you have any queries, reach out to me or any mental health professional who can help you. Hope this has been helpful. From here on, we have a channel on WhatsApp called Behavior, and the updates would be posted there. I invite everyone to be a part of it. May the new year bring lots of prosperity and growth, better relationships, improved self to everyone. See you next year.